Good day to you, one and all. It is I, Justin Hawkins, and this is Justin Hawkins Rides Again. Outcomes is wearing that preposterous suit that looks like something that Rod Stewart and Mick Jagger probably bickered over in the 90s, with some open-backed... Well, I don't know why. I just don't. Anyway, so I'm going to be talking about Ace Frehley. I never knew whether to pronounce it Frehley or Freely. Looks like... That must be Frehley, actually, because of Frehley's Comet. That makes sense, doesn't it? There's a song that he did called 10,000 Volts, and it was released on the 28th of November 2023. So, you know, it's already been in the ether for a couple of months now. I don't know why I wasn't aware of it before. Maybe because... I don't know. I'll posit some theories as to why that might be in the course of my analysis of this song. Justin Hawkins rides again. That's right, again. Okay, so with the release of his new album, 10,000 Volts, around the corner, co-founding KISS member Ace Frehley wants the world to know just how good it is, especially his former bandmates. Frehley has declared that he believes his forthcoming new album, 10,000 Volts, will make his bandmates look like imbeciles. In a new interview with Guitar World, the co-founding former KISS guitarist was quick to air his ill feeling towards his ex-band members. That's always a nice read, sharing how the apparent high quality of his new project is his way of getting back at them. He said, Paul and Gene have tried to destroy my reputation over the years. We know that, he says. And unfortunately for them, 10,000 Volts is going to make them look like imbeciles. I love this. This is the kind of... this is like... It's a bit different to those 90s rivalries that I'm really fond of. You know, it's more like... this is real, much more personal than that. You know, it's not just, we're the best and yous lot ain't the best. It's more like, it's a bit more personal, I think. Anyway, KISS hasn't put out a record since 2012, Monster. And here I am, 17 years sober, as am I. Do you know what? That's weird, because I think I sang with Ace Frehley in 2008, so I would have been like 2 years sober at that point, and I guess he was as well. That might explain why he and I were both in really bad moods that day. We weren't clashing or anything like that. It just there wasn't much of a vibe, you know. But then again, 2 years sober, there isn't much vibe, you know. Anyone who's on that journey will recognise that the first 6 years are really difficult. I mean, just in terms of the sadness levels, you know. Anyway, that's interesting. If we'd have actually bothered to speak to each other on that day, maybe we'd have found some common ground and been able to help each other through those difficult, sort of miserable years that you know, that you end up enduring when you decide to make a life choice like that. Anyway, here I am, 17 years sober, and it's my 6th record since leaving KISS. I keep chugging along and nobody can stop me. Creating amazing music is the best way to combat someone putting you down. That's how I shut them up. This is awesome. I really respect this attitude. Anyway, elsewhere, Frehley displays his competitive nature when it comes to comparing his success against his former band, noting, I was on YouTube last night and I noticed that the music video for 10,000 Volts is creeping up on 500,000 views. Then I checked on a video of one of KISS's final live shows. They didn't have close to that. Speaking of the forthcoming record, Frehley throws in another comparison, adding, not to focus on the past, but the songs on 10,000 Volts are reminiscent of the hard yet pop rock songs from KISS's Rock and Roll Over. Rock and Roll Over. There's no bullshit in any of these songs. There's no filler and zero wasted space. Steve was great about helping me trim the fat. Who's he talking about there? That must be his producer, I suppose. Anyway, the musician has made his dislike for the legendary glam metal band very well known over the last year, with the feud between them kicking off following comments made by Paul Stanley on KISS's on why Kiss weren't keen on having Frehley perform alongside them at their Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction in 2014. Back in March, Stanley quipped that getting original members Frehley and Peter Criss to perform at the ceremony would be demeaning, adding, "Because if you saw people on stage who looked like Kiss but sounded like that, maybe we should be called Piss." In response, Frehley threatened to release dirt on the band if Stanley didn't apologise, then later revealed that he didn't apologise but instead called to say "fuck you." This is awesome. At least he put in the call. You know what I mean? Like it's in a way it's respectful, but the actual content of the call a bit less so, I suppose. But you know, it's nice that he reached out. Kiss performed their last ever show at Madison Square Garden on December the 2nd as part of their farewell End of the Road tour, a performance of which Frehley insisted he was not invited to. The glam legends have since revealed that they will be continuing their legacy as digital avatars. God. Following in the footsteps of ABBA's highly successful hologram experience, ABBA Voyage. Unsurprisingly, Frehley was not impressed by the announcement, describing in an interview with German rock radio station Rock Antenne, transcribed by Blabbermouth, that the idea was not rock and roll, adding that it looks geared towards children. I mean, I don't know, I think it's not fair to make an assertion like that unless you've been to see the show. One of my friends, well, in fact, my spiritual advisor, Vlad, speaks very highly of the ABBA Voyage experience and said that he was screaming in the front row and crying throughout. So that's high praise indeed. All right, I'm going to watch this video for 10,000 volts and tell you in no uncertain terms whether or not Ace Frehley is talking out of his behind or whether it is indeed utterly astonishing, or whatever he said. Again. You know what I immediately noticed about this? Yeah. Okay, it's a pretty cool riff, but what's really cool about it is the shaker stuff that's happening in the right speaker. It kind of reminds me of what happens after the solo in Problem Child by AC/DC, but that's more of a straight. And I always imagine, when I'm listening to that, I imagine Bon Scott doing it. I mean, it's probably Phil Rudd, actually, because he's more the percussive guy. But actually, I think didn't Bon Scott, wasn't he a drummer at one point? But anyway, yeah, I imagine it was, I love the idea of Bon Scott just sort of shaking some eggs into the microphone after a massive solo. And I think that's the one where Angus's amp blew up at the end of the recording and they kept it in, flames licking up around the microphone and all. But we're not talking about AC/DC. We should be, but we're not. Every night and day, I know she's out there, ready for us to play. I'll never give up. Wait a second. Whilst we're focusing on percussion, did you notice in this section here... Wait, you can't do that with a serious face. Oh! It's infectious. It's almost like Ace Frehley is regarded the blueprint for a percussive approach to rock music that I provided last year. And it's working, isn't it? I mean, that's like... Ooh! It just makes me feel really good. She hit me like 10,000 volts when I saw her face. When I saw her face, she hit me like 10,000 volts. She hit me like 10,000 volts. Feel like I was in space. I think I found. That's really good. Feel like I was in space. But it's really because the way that line scans, it's like the emphasis seems to be on was somehow. It's a bit like if you asked Brian Blessed to sing the lead vocal on a song, and or William Shatner. It's just weird sounding, but kind of funny at the same time. I like it.
She hit me like 10,000 volts when I saw her face.
It's a really, I don't know if it's what this lyric is. I mean, it's not bawdy enough to be in this sort of Bon Scott realm. It's kind of dancing with a little bit of, I don't know, it gets into the sort of, when I saw her face is a Neil Diamond thing, obviously, which I love Neil Diamond things anyway. He's a guy that writes such, I don't know, he's responsible for a lot of what we now think of as generic sounding lyrics, but that's because Neil Diamond invented that stuff, and it's awesome. And they're always phrases that bear repeating. It's not stuff that you can really sort of, I don't know, it's okay to plunder those things, I think. But the 10,000 volts, when I saw her face. He's talking about love at first sight, isn't he? That travels at the speed of electricity down a copper wire. It's his band having a great time. There's one guy that's his main sort of go-to dance is this one. She hit me like 10,000 volts. Yeah! Felt like I was in space. I felt like I was in space. It's fucking awesome, actually. This is probably going to stick in my head for a while. No, you can laugh all you want at Ace Frehley and you know, his preposterous sense of I don't know, superiority, I suppose. But actually, that's a really great chorus, and it's definitely going to stick in my head. Felt like I was in space. Is there smoke coming out of his guitar? Of course there is.
I'm gonna do it right this time. I'll never leave her behind.
See, whenever I hear that line, leave her behind, I think about Spinal Tap, of course, saying, how can I leave this behind in Big Bottom? And that has killed it for me. I mean, whenever you hear behind, it's going to have to be something extra special to beat that. Let's have a listen to that again. Let's see the setup for that behind line and see if it is indeed a euphemism or a double entendre.
I'm gonna do it right this time. I'll never leave her behind.
Yeah.
She hit me like 10,000 volts when I
But I love the sleaze on it. She hit me like 10,000 volts. It's like that. It's just fucking, it's really sleazy. A lot of people try and do sleazy, but don't quite pull it off, and it just sounds a bit inauthentic. But I think when Ace Frehley does sleazy, it sounds fucking real, you know.
She hit me like 10,000 volts.
I'd like to hear a harmony on there.
She hit me like 10,000 volts.
Ah, there's the harmony. This is fucking awesome, actually. I'm really getting into it.
10,000 volts.
Yeah, fucking great. Okay, I've got to say that's really enjoyable. I mean, I love the setup for it as well, like declaring it the greatest music on earth and making his erstwhile bandmates look like imbeciles because his music's so fucking good. I just think that's all of that stuff. More of it, please. I want to see all of the rock stars speaking like that about their former, you know, bandmates and stuff. It's just fucking brilliant. It's so inspiring. And then to come out with a song like that, it's just totally sleazy, and it doesn't give a fuck. They spent about 10 seconds on the lyrics, and it's quite funny because of that. The emphasis on the what, feel like I was in space. That was is just lands in the wrong place in the right way. It's really cool. I'd recommend you have a listen to it and use the comment section to tell me what you think, because I really enjoyed it. It's a really great, fun thing to listen to, and obviously the context of it with the rivalry and so on just makes it extra especial to me. Justin Hawkins writes again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Watch one of these 2 videos. If there are any tickets remaining for the live Justin Hawkins Rides Again for the first time tour, then you can buy those via the link in the description. And also join the mailing list. You won't regret it. Nice one, guys. See you on the eyes. She hit me like 10,000 votes. Yeah, 10,000.